You don't get disrespected in one big moment. It comes in pieces. A glance too quick, a voice too loud, a pause that holds nothing. They don't break you. They erode you, slowly, quietly, until one day, you stop looking people in the eye. Disrespect isn't always loud. It doesn't need to be. It lives in the silence people leave when they no longer take you seriously. But here's the truth. You taught them how to treat you through your patterns, through what you let slide, through what you say and don't. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you become, not by force, not by noise, but by presence. This is not about being feared. It's about becoming untouchable from the inside out. The Stoics understood this. They didn't demand anything. They embodied everything. These are not tricks, not hacks, not games. They are principles, 9 of them. Practiced in silence, refined by storms. And if you carry them long enough, no one will ever look at you the same again. 1. Compassion is control. People think compassion is softness, but they've never felt it from someone who could destroy them. The Stoics knew compassion without power is fear, but power without compassion is empty. You don't control others by force, you control yourself so deeply that others feel it. The man who reacts is predictable. The man who stays calm is dangerous, because he sees, he hears, he chooses. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you are tempted to judge, ask, where do I do the same?" That's not pity, that's precision. You don't let things slide. You just choose where your energy goes. And sometimes the most terrifying response is silence. Because the man who carries compassion doesn't carry chaos. He listens, not to respond, but to rule himself. And when you meet someone like that, you don't mock him. You don't dismiss him. You respect him, even if you don't know why. More 2. Right speech is a blade. What you say becomes who you are, not just to others, but to yourself. The Stoics didn't waste words because they knew every sentence is a signal. Speak too much, you lose weight. Speak too soon, you lose truth. Speak without control, you lose yourself. Your words teach people how to treat you. And most disrespect doesn't come from what they do, but from what you've allowed, with a smile, with a laugh, with silence when you should have stood. Right speech doesn't mean saying the right things. It means speaking from a place that can't be moved. You don't have to raise your voice, you have to raise your standard. Say less, mean more. Let them feel the cost of misunderstanding you. Because when your words come slow, clear, measured, people don't interrupt, they listen. And when you say nothing at all, they hear you even louder. 3. Presence is protection. Most people are touched before they even notice. A word, a tone, a glance, and suddenly they react. But the Stoic man watches, feels, chooses. He doesn't flinch because he's there, fully. Mindfulness isn't meditation. It's a stance, a stillness, a full awareness of what enters your space and what leaves. Because the man who is present can't be manipulated. He doesn't run on old wounds. He doesn't seek validation. He doesn't chase respect. He commands it by being completely here. He sees the game. He hears the unsaid. And he answers with silence so sharp, it cuts through noise like a blade. You can't disrespect someone who sees you before you see yourself. So slow down, not as a tactic, as a way of life. Be so still that nothing can move you, and that presence will speak louder than any defense ever could. 4. Forgiveness is freedom. They hurt you, ignored you, laughed when you fell, and part of you wants to hold it forever, as proof, as fuel. But the Stoics knew, what you hold holds you back. Forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about unhooking yourself from the weight they left behind. Because the man who cannot forgive keeps fighting a war that already ended. You carry their offense like armor, but it rusts from the inside. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who did the injury." Not nicer, not louder, just unaffected. Because nothing is more terrifying than a man who doesn't need to retaliate to prove he's untouchable. He simply is. You forgive, not to make peace with them, but to make space for yourself. Because every ounce of hate you release becomes room for clarity, for movement, for growth. Let it go, not for them, for you, because the man who can let go can never be held down. 5. Detachment is dominance. You want it. To win, to be chosen, to be seen. That's normal. But the moment you need it, you've already lost it. Because what owns your desire owns you. The Stoics practiced non-attachment, not to feel less, but to be less controlled. They didn't reject the world, they just refused to bow to it. Marcus Aurelius said, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." That's power. Because when you don't cling, you don't chase. And when you don't chase, you move different. You speak less, you choose better. You walk away faster. The world can't bait a man who isn't starving for approval. He's already full. From within. So let go, not as an escape, but as a stance. Own nothing, need nothing, lose nothing. And the less you grip, the harder you are to shake. 6. Humility is untouchable. They think humility is smallness, shrinking, bowing. They're wrong. True humility isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. The Stoics didn't pretend. They didn't posture. They didn't need to. Because when you know who you are, you don't have to remind anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Be your own spectator." Humility is this. You stop performing. You stop chasing image. You become real. And real is rare. You don't interrupt to be right. You don't argue to win. You don't speak to prove. You stand. You act. You leave. And the world feels it. The humble man is not beneath anyone. He's simply no longer above them, and that's what makes him impossible to pull down. You can't insult someone who doesn't need to look tall. He's already grounded, too deep to move, too clear to fight shadows. So stay low, not out of fear, out of focus. Because the lower your ego, the higher your presence. 7. Patience is a strategy. Some want everything fast, reactions, results, respect, but speed means nothing. If you're headed in the wrong direction, the Stoics understood, not everything deserves a response. Not every moment needs a move. Patience isn't weakness, it's calculation. Because the man who waits, watches. He lets others reveal themselves. He lets fools rush ahead. He lets the fire burn down before he steps through the ashes. Seneca wrote, "Time discovers truth." And so he gives it time. He knows the longer you stay still, the clearer things become. Patience isn't doing nothing. It's doing less with more intention. It's trusting that storms pass, that people show their hands, that silence speaks. You don't chase closure. You don't fight to be heard. You simply wait. And when it's time, you move once, clean, final. So be still. Let others burn themselves out. Let life come to you. Because the man who can wait cannot be pushed, and the one who cannot be pushed is respected by force. 8. Kindness is control. They'll tell you, kindness makes you soft. But here's the truth, the strongest men don't need to be cruel. Kindness is not approval, it's not surrender, it's not weakness. It's the decision to remain calm in a world built on noise. The Stoics didn't speak of being nice, they spoke of being unmoved. Because the man who is kind, not to be liked, but because he's already full, is the man no one dares to push. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Kindness is invincible if it's sincere." It doesn't mean letting things slide. It means letting them pass while you stay centered. You don't speak to flatter. You don't act to please. You don't give to be seen. You choose kindness because hatred is too easy. And you're not here for easy. You're here for depth, for precision, for presence. And the man who can smile, even when surrounded by disrespect, doesn't need to fight for respect. He's already beyond it. He's the one they remember, long after the loud ones fade. Or 9. Gratitude is armor. They think gratitude is soft, delusional, blind optimism, but they don't understand what it really is. Gratitude isn't ignoring pain, it's choosing where you place your focus. So pain doesn't own you. The Stoics didn't walk around smiling at everything. They faced the fire. But they didn't curse the flame. They looked at what they had and built from there. Seneca wrote, He is most powerful who is most content with the least. Because when you stop needing more, you stop being pulled by the world. Gratitude is clarity. It removes the fog, it quiets the craving, it gives you ground. You can't disrespect a man who doesn't need anything from you. No approval, no apology, no audience. He's already anchored, already full, already beyond reach. So be grateful. Not to feel good, but to feel free. Because the man who walks with gratitude walks with nothing to prove. And when you need nothing, no one can touch you. You don't need to be respected. Not in the way they say. Not through force. Not through fear. Not through loudness. You don't need to prove, to beg, to convince. Because respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you become. Through stillness, through clarity, through discipline so silent. They feel it before you speak. The Stoics knew, you don't rise by standing over others. You rise by standing so firm, no one dares to push. This isn't about power, it's about presence. You carry these 9 traits, not to impress, but to remain untouchable. And in that presence, you don't demand respect. You make it impossible to withhold.